This is the New York City FC Pregame Live. Tonight, New York City crossed the Hudson River to face the Red Bulls in the Hudson River Derby. And now, here are your hosts, Glenn Crooks and Matty Lawrence.
Hey, what's happening, everybody? I'm Glenn Crooks, Matty Lawrence, and back by popular demand.
Well, demand of our parents and our children. That's about the only demand.
Our parents and our children, and yes, it's NYCFC Pregame Live, so great to be back on. We will be on for these last 4 games of the regular season, which is going to, as I almost dumped the table over, as we are getting ready for the playoffs. Hopefully. Now, look, both teams have an opportunity to clinch if they win here at Red Bull Arena tonight. There are a lot of different scenarios beyond just them winning. First time they played was May 18th this season. That was at Citi Field. It was a 2-1 New York City FC victory. Hannes Wolf scoring in the 3rd minute. Hannes Wolf has 1 goal contribution in his last 12 games. And then Monsef Bakrar scored what was the game winner in the 64th minute. And we might remember this scene here. Remember that?
Yeah, we do.
And
the lesser spotted Monsef Bakrar.
But that's Nick Cushing underneath the hug. and he had that hug for Nick Cushing after scoring because it was his first goal over the course of 12 games in the regular year. He was the number 9. He was getting all the minutes. And he wanted to let his coach know that he appreciated the fact that he had faith in him to eventually break through, even though ultimately Alonso Martinez has taken the shirt, as Nick would put it.
Yeah, rightfully so. Alonso Martinez has got that shirt. I think Monsef Bakrar, yes, that he got that goal. It was very important. It was the match winner in the local derby, in the reverse fixture obviously. But the struggle is real for him, and the struggle continues. And my worry for Bakrar is the things that he did very well. One of them wasn't scoring goals. The things he did well, closing down opponents, making life hard for the opposition defence, linking up play at times, that seems to have dissipated as well. When he's come on in the last couple of games, he's come on for 20, 30 minutes, and it's almost had a negative impact because you've lost the goal-scoring ability of Alonso Martinez, even though he's been coming to the end of his productivity in terms of, his fitness levels, and we know that's why he's been brought off. We know that if he'd been remotely able to continue for full 90, he would have done. But when he's come off, the goal scoring's dissipated, and also the work rate seems to have as well, which is slightly frustrating, I think, for the viewer, for the listener, and for us as almost neutrals. The fact that Bakrar has lost any type of impetus when coming on. Well,
let's get more into the derby in a moment. Let's get back to Yankee Stadium, 44,000 plus. For the 1-1 draw against Inter Miami. With Messi, there was atmosphere, and it was because of Messi. So we have to admit those things when they occur. But it brought an energy to the stadium that we haven't felt in quite some time. And I want to play Nick Cushing's post-game comments after James Sands' late equalizer. So first, this is one of the things that he had heard about and got a chance to look at, the TIFO. And he really, that is Nick Cushing, really liked the TIFO and what it represented. But we'll talk about that in a moment.
They supported us throughout the game. They really give us life and energy. When the shout comes for the opposition, I love the fact that our fans sang over it as a really proud moment, because I've seen different in other stadiums where you go away and you can hear the opposition's players' names being sung and the Messi shout is ringing around the stadium. And it started off in the first half, and I could hear the New York fans sing over it, and it's I love that. That tells me that we have a real heartbeat, a real soul in our football club, and that I think that is what will be the inspiration for the moment to give our season a kickstart, is seeing all the New York fans tonight come out and really be behind us and have a desire. One thing I will say, and I hope you guys can print this and make sure our fans see it, I love the tifo. The tifo was something that really, really gave me spirit before the game.
Yeah.
And it's basically saying that tifo, it's saying, hey, listen, if you're here, you're a New York City fan, don't put on a messy jersey and make believe. And you could, there were pink jerseys there, but they weren't Inter Miami fans. They were just putting their messy fans on. And I don't think the New York City supporters, I mean, it was a New York City crowd, which in some stadiums it's been mixed, like 50-50.
It has, if not more favorably, weighted towards Miami.
Right.
What we mean by Miami is Messi. Most of the time, it doesn't have anything to do with Inter Miami. I even think down at Inter Miami, quite often, an awful lot of the fans are just going to see Messi. We see that when it's a sellout crowd, certainly on paper, and then Messi doesn't play, but the stadium's only half full. Because half of the fans have only bought a ticket to see Messi. He's not on the team sheet, so they don't even bother showing up. So it's those plastic fans, isn't it? It's the same as you can say back home in England. I can only say England, when all of a sudden there's many Manchester City fans springing up all around the country, whereas Man City organically has been just everything in Moss Side and in and around Manchester. But because they're now doing well, all of a sudden fans spring up around the country. And look, I can say that being a plastic Liverpool fan, growing up in Northamptonshire in the 70s and 80s and somehow supporting Liverpool. So I take that on the chin. I include myself in that. So it turns out to be one of those 3-point ties. I think the Nick Cushing has, I don't know if he's patented that term, should.
But he should, because it was James Sands. And why not listen back the New York City FC Network?
Here's the corner ball, far corner, bent in. And it's James Sands with his first career goal! How about that? Drake Hollander, hands on hip, showing his frustration. New York City FC. It was the Fernandez free kick that ricocheted out for a corner. And at the death, Sands got inside of Thomas Avalos at the top of the 6. And what a time for Sands, the 24-year-old, the first homegrown signed by the club to get his first career goal. It's the leveler here in front of 44,000 plus. And how about that, Matty?
What a time to score your first. And the performance of NYCFC deserved this. You don't always get what you deserve for in football, but they deserve at least a point here. And the referee's looking at the watch and blowing the whistle, Glenn.
So it was the last moment, the last action of the game. James Sands, he does have one other goal in his professional career, and it was the game-winning corner for Rangers versus Thistle in the Scottish Cup over in, and it was a home match in Glasgow. So there you go.
Both pretty important, that's for certain.
Yeah.
Certainly the Inter Miami one, I think, will nestle down in the brain a little bit greater and last a little bit longer. And let's hope there's more, because look, he heads the ball very well. He strikes the ball very well off the deck. It's a shame that he doesn't have more confidence in front of goal. And he may tell us that he does, but it's there. It's clear for you to see that he does lack confidence when he strikes the ball. We know he's got wonderful technique, but he rarely hits the target with head or foot. Hopefully that will give him some confidence.
Well, you know what Nick Cushing said in the pregame show coming up, part of our live commentary beginning at 7:15 on the New York City FC Network, which is nycfc.com/radio, NYCFC app if you have the app, TuneIn app if you happen to have the TuneIn app on your phone or wherever else you're allowed to have apps. I just have one on my phone. I guess I have a few on my iPad, but I'm still catching on, Matty. I'm still catching on. But no excuses to listen to our commentary. You have to sync up tonight. And what you do is you put the radio broadcast on, you pause it at kickoff, the video will catch up, and when they kick off, boom, there you go. And now you're all set for the whole game. You don't have to do anything else, man.
Wow, you've got this technology stuff still right there. You've explained everything.
I know.
I think got the new Steve Jobs sitting next to me.
You remember Sands' very first appearance when he was 7?
like making your MLS debut and substituting for Andrea Pirlo.
So James Sands coming in for his first minutes in MLS, a homegrown player. In fact, New York City's first ever homegrown. There he is, number 16. He's in the 18 for the first time earlier this month.
Well, there you go. There's another app. But there's James Sands' first professional appearance, and he replaces Pirlo, 37 at the time. Sands was 17. Sands is now an old man. He's 24. Yep. But I mean, seriously, when you think about James Sands, he has been around.
He has. 7 years, obviously.
Yeah.
He's very, very experienced for a 24-year-old. There's no way that he can hide behind youth or inexperience. That's what I like about him as well. He's not the leader vocally, but he just leads by example. I love watching him train. I love watching him play. I like watching him prepare for games. I like watching him after games because he is the ultimate, or it feels to me as though he's the ultimate professional. He may tell us there's other things he could do, but it looks as though he looks after himself in a wonderful fashion.
I want to play one more thing from the Miami game with Nick, because I saw ESPN did an article about, interviewing some of the MLS coaches. How do you stop Messi? And I think Nick Cushing and his coaching team should be the ones who are really featured in this. So here's Messi had one shot. It was off a free kick, and it missed the target. Not by much, but it missed the target. He had one touch in the New York City penalty area. Luis Suarez didn't have a shot. And Miami expected goals for what it's worth, but they had their lowest expected goals, 0.78, in any game this year. And that's against New York City, Yankee Stadium. So I talked about this with Nick Cushing, part of our pregame briefing.
Listen, he's an incredible player, but I don't see the game in the sense of an individual plan for him. I lost count the amount of times that people ask me, do you have a special plan for him? I don't see the game like that. I think the game is about reducing space and controlling space. And first of all, for us, is about pressing high because we can regain and go to goal. But also, if we press high, and in the game when we did press high, you keep Luis Suarez and Lionel Messi away from the goal. They're as far away from the goal as possible, whereas if you allow those guys to live in and around your box, they're going to get in there, and I think that's a good marker of why he didn't get in the box many times. And then I think when you are defending your box, it's about reducing space. Can you get in and around each other so that one of you can get in a block, one of you get in a tackle? There's no space to see the goal, because if he sees the goal, he has incredible ability to find it.
So there's Nick Cushing talking about how they put the clamps on Messi and company, and it's team defending. You were a defender, and you do have, and we've discussed it before. Do you put someone on to really mirror somebody like Messi? But we know Sands, holding midfielder, he's in there, and we thought Strahinja Tanasiewicz, who was suspended tonight, yellow card suspension. Justin Hack in the starting 11 for New York City in his place at left central defense. And maybe Martins, a little Kevin O'Toole, Sandy Rodriguez coming back and double teaming him at times. But 5 times he was dispossessed, which is really, that's a high water mark as well.
Yeah, I take what Nick Cushing said, and you reduce space. It certainly helps when you can reduce the size of the pitch as well, Ben. That makes a big difference as well. You make everything compact.
Yep.
Yes, they didn't have a specific plan. I believe Nick in that. But what you do know is that you do know you're playing against Messi and Suarez, and you make sure you are incredibly compact. And that is the width of the defence and the space between the defence and the midfield as well. Yes, you may not be just doing that for Lionel Messi, but a massive part of it, of course it is, because he finds those little pockets of space. He wears the 10, he plays the 10, but he's allowed to go wherever he wants. So somebody was always aware of him. I'm not having it that Nick Cushing didn't tell his players, the minute Messi's got the ball, there better be 2 or 3 players around him. There better be 2 or 3 people nipping at his heels, biting at his toes. But I do take the point that, yes, they didn't man-mark him, and yes, it wasn't all about Messi. It's all about collective defending. If you do your job well, you will stifle Messi and Suarez because you'll compact everything. That defence, that midfield, and Messi, as you said, every time he touched the ball, he had people around him. He gave the ball away numerous times, and you rarely say that at all. Also, it does help that he isn't, in my opinion, totally match fit yet, and he's 37 as well, but take nothing away from the team. I thought it was a wonderful collective performance defensively, which we haven't been able to say on more than one or two occasions this season.
Yeah. Well, the starting 11 are in for this game, which is the Hudson River Derby. New York City on the road, crossing the Hudson River to play the New York Red Bulls. Ironically, on Wednesday, New York City will be here again, but as the home team against FC Cincinnati. And even if Matty Lawrence's Mets somehow manage to screw this thing up down the
Well,
stretch,
it looks like they're going to.
it's pretty close. But they do have a doubleheader scheduled against the Atlanta Braves on Monday, and that'll really decide it at the end. And it's not enough time to prepare Citi Field for a home soccer match. So, people that are going to the game have probably already seen the ad or the social media posts sent out by New York City last week about getting your tickets at Red Bull Arena. But then that next game against Nashville could be at Citi Field if
the Mets screw it up.
Depending on exactly how the Mets decide to handle this one. So here, Red Bulls are 12-2-2 here at home at Red Bull Arena against New York City, where you would think New York City along the way would become more comfortable here. I'm not saying they haven't, but two of those wins, the last two games that they've played here, the two of them, the Red Bulls have come away victors. This is the 25th all-time regular season meeting between the two. 11 wins for the Red Bulls, 9 for New York City, and there have been only 4 draws, which I don't know. You might predict a draw in this one because New York City has 8 of them, and the Red Bulls have 14 ties in 2024. They're ahead of New York City in the standings, 44 points to 41. But, man.
Yeah, I think the point is you'd be silly to bet against the draw. If you're a betting man or a betting woman, you'd be silly to bet against the draw. But for me, always, Glenn, when you come here as the away team, whether it's the NYCFC or other, today we're talking about New York City FC, you better make sure you've had your porridge. You better make sure you've had your oatmeal. You better be able to match the physicality of the opposition first. You've got to outwork and outbattle the opposition because you know they are coming at you in the opening 10 or 15 minutes. I know they're all cliches. You've got to outbat them, out-physicality them. And also, for me, you've got to be brave as well, Glenn.
Yeah. How about starting 11, Matty, before we wrap? Andres Pereira coming in for the suspended Santi Rodriguez. So it'll be an interesting midfield look with Sands, Parks, Pereira, Maxi Morales. So how Nick Cushing organizes this. Alonso Martinez back up top. We had a couple of Costa Rican supporters who are watching this. I had just put up a banner a moment ago, so I'm sure that they're tuned into Martinez as well.
Because Costa Ricans may not be NYCFC fans, but they're obviously fans of the national team. And if Alonso Martinez is playing well, then he's going to play well for the national team as well. It fits hand in hand. Look, with that formation, it's got to be an upturned diamond, I hope. Sands at the bottom, Pereira and Parks right and left, pushing on, and then Maxi Morales surely playing on the left-hand side, but flitting inside as well, similar to we saw Santi Rodriguez against Inter Miami. That makes sense to me. That's what I hope. Get Pereira and Parks pushed on to really pressurize this New York Red Bulls team.
And then we said it earlier, Hack moving into the back line. So it makes sense. No matter where Justin Hack has been placed, he has seemed to come through under the he never seems to look like he's feeling pressure. And but he's certainly versatile and can fill in at times that are really valuable.
And he's done very well this season, and he's played a multitude of positions. He's also played left back, right back, left centre half, probably right centre half at times, and as a holding midfielder. And I don't think he's ever let the team down. I don't think he's ever been a 9 out of 10, but he's always been a 6, a 6.5, a 7 out of 10. And that's great to see. And I think that he's shaken off that jack of all trades, master of none, because I think he's mastered a number of positions now, Glenn. I'm not sure that I know what his best position is right now. Possibly a 6, but I think he does a very good job either in a back 2 or in a back 3. Possibly I see his best position as a left side of right sided centre half in a back 3.
Well, New York City will be going out with the designated player who has been very consistent this year, has played nearly every minute, and that's Santi Rodriguez. Yellow card suspension like Atanasievich. And then on the Red Bulls side, as we close for certain, Emil Forsberg, he's played 4 minutes since June the 1st. I mean, this guy is obviously of great value, 6 goals, 3 assists, but he manages the tempo. He's on the bench. He's not in the 11, but he is on the bench, so I'm expecting we see him in the last half hour.
$6 million a year, we better see something. And so he's got problems off the field, and hopefully those problems off the field don't join and meet on the field. I want to see him. We always talk about you always want to see the best players on show.
Yeah.
So maybe NYCFC don't want to see him, but I'd love to see him. I think he's a fantastic footballer, but obviously he's far from match fit.
All right, that's Matty Lawrence. I'm Glenn Crooks. In just a few minutes, about 9 minutes, 7:15 Eastern. That's when our pregame show will air with 13 minutes with head coach Nick Cucci, exclusive one-on-one before every match. And we talk about referees and VAR in this one. It's a fun one. And then the live commentary kickoff is at 7:40 p.m. Eastern. 4 games left in the regular year. A lot of other games going on simultaneously. We'll keep track of the scores and the live standings as teams are jockeying for position. Well, it's good to be back on NYCFC Pregame Live. Thanks to everyone who took the time out to join us here. It's a big one. It's the Hudson River Derby. It's at Red Bull Arena, and it's starting in just a few minutes. Enjoy the game, everybody.